Okay, so I want to present you the idea behind the America Immortal. So America Immortal is a book. It's on Amazon. It's very cheap. It's a political fiction and science fiction. All right, it's called America Immortal. And something you have to know is I wrote it before Donald Trump was elected. But when I was writing the book, I was pretty sure that Donald Trump would not be elected, because I was thinking the American society is reasonable enough not to vote for that guy. I mean, it may happen that it's not entirely negative or positive. Anyway, the point here is not to criticize American politics. It's just to tell you about this book that I wrote. So it's called America Immortal. And it's a political fiction because in it, even though I was sure that Donald Trump would not be elected, I'm describing a future in which Donald Trump is the president of America, and in fact he was even re-elected for a second term. And so this takes place in the future. But we see, so there's a flashback about what happened in the past. So in the next 5 years, Google is going to, Calico is going to discover a way to manipulate human genes in order to become immortal. So the problem is that the technology is new and it's expensive, and mostly it's rich people who can become immortal. But Donald Trump says, hey, this time I don't want to make America great, I want to make it immortal. And so he wants a social system in which everybody has the rights to become immortal. So in fact, the immortality becomes free, so everybody can become immortal. But at the same time, he pursues his dream, or his endeavor to build a wall around America. So it's more and more difficult for immigrants to go to America. So the country becomes more isolated. But in that country, people can start living forever. So what happens in the other parts of the world? Europe decides to ban immortality because it's against their ethics. So what happens is that there is this character, and her name is Lucy, but she's French and she dreams of immortality. She dreams of going to America Immortal. So she this is the future, so she receives spams to by some sort of illegal society that would organize migrants to enter America through a different name, a different identity. And so this is the story of that lady, French lady in the future, who wants to go to America. So this organization offers Lucy to go to Mexico City to organize her way to enter into America Immortal. At the same time, there's the story of Stephen. He is the last American, because at some point they realize, hey, there's going to be a problem of overpopulation, right? Because people can live forever, so they don't die, but they can continue to have children. And at some point, the government decided to ban having children. They decided to ban it for several years, just to see what it... So they're banning it for several years. In fact, they're just banning it until they change their mind, until they make a new law to make it legal again. But there's this, so Stephen, he's the last American boy to be born before the ban. And he but his parents were a little bit young, and so he actually lives with his grandparents. And it's the grandpa who tells him the story of America Immortal. And the grandpa decides to have a very traditional life. He didn't want to become immortal, so he didn't go to the medical labs that allows people to become immortal. So he's getting old and he's gonna die. But he's telling the story to his son. The story of America Immortal. And yeah, that's it. So that's the premise basically of the book. And for some people who like want to, so for Americans who want to have babies, they have to either do it illegally inside America or they just go to Europe. So people who want to stay immortal and have babies go to Europe, and Europeans, but in fact they can also go to China and the rest of the world. But mostly we're gonna focus on, like, even there's China involved in the book and the story, but not much. But mostly it's about this character who wants to go to America to become immortal, and there's this other character who wants to have babies, and he wants to go to Europe. And at some point things, won't happen the way they expect it will happen. This I'm not gonna explain it. Yeah, so this is the premise, right? I'm gonna stop here now. Have a nice day.